A very warm welcome to today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch, and this is Thursday, September the 18th.
And I am Grace Agbarago here at the FMDQ Archives in Lagos. I hope you've all had a great day so far.
All right, let's begin news now today with news in Rwanda, where the central bank governor has presented the monetary policy statement, noting that global growth is projected to slow to 3% in 2025, while sub-Saharan Africa's economy is expected to remain resilient at 4%. The governor highlighted moderated inflation and the need to guard against external risks as Rwanda seeks to sustain its economic momentum. Let's now listen.
Global GDP growth is projected to slow down to 3% in 2025 from a GDP growth of 3.3% that we had last year. And according to the IMF's World Economic Outlook, global GDP should slightly recover in 2026 with a growth of 3.1%. And when we break this down by region, we see that advanced economies are expected to grow more moderately to 1.5% from 1.8% in 2024, before a slight recovery in 2026. As for sub-Saharan Africa, the GDP growth is projected to stabilize at 4% in 2025, with expectations of improved performance to 4.3% GDP growth in 2026, reflecting the region's economic resilience post-COVID and all the external shocks that we have observed in the last 5 years. In the context of a slowing global economy and shifting global trade policies, global inflation is projected to continue easing at 4.2% in 2025, compared to the 5.6% global inflation that we had in 2024. Inflation is expected to further ease to 3.6% in 2026, reflecting lower energy and food prices and improved supply chain conditions. Global GDP.
In South Africa, the South African Reserve Bank has decided to maintain its key interest rate at 7%, holding steady after inflation surprised with an easing to 3.3% year-on-year in August. The Monetary Policy Committee's vote was split. 4 members backed holding rates, while 2 urged a cut. Let's hear what the governor had to say.
Underlying inflation remains contained, with core inflation around 3%. Inflation expectations also moderated further in the latest survey, which shows South Africans are getting used to lower inflation. We anticipate that headline inflation will rise over the next few months, peaking at around 4%. Our forecast now incorporates higher electricity price inflation of nearly 8% rather than 6%, given the recent pricing correction by NERSA. This is a reminder of the serious dysfunction in administered prices, which undermines purchasing power and weakens growth. The solution to this crisis is not a higher level of inflation, but rather sector-specific reforms to improve efficiency. Our inflation projections also have upward adjustments to food and services prices, partly offset by a stronger exchange rate assumption. Overall, we expect headline inflation to average 3.4% this year and 3.6% next year, before reverting to 3% during 2027. We assess the risks to the inflation outlook as balanced. Against this backdrop, the MPC decided to keep the policy rate unchanged at 7%. 4 members preferred to keep rates on hold, while 2 favored a cut of 25 basis points. Since September last year, we have reduced rates by 125 basis points, and we want to see how this is affecting the economy, how expectations evolve. Underlying inflation remains contained, with core inflation around 3%.
In global news, happening now is the 2025 Michel Camdessus Central Banking Lecture, where the managing director of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, is delivering the opening remarks. Let's now join the live.
As somebody who truly led the thinking on these tools, and as a practitioner in applying them, you would teach us valuable lessons in the lecture you would give us today. Let me finish with the following. Our beloved Chang Yong is also a passionate golfer. And as a passionate golfer, he knows that to go over the whole field, you need more than one club. And you need to choose the right club to be successful. And I think what we would hear from you today is applying this experience from golfing into how to use policy tools. So let me thank you very much for taking the time to come. I am delighted that you are this year's Camdessus lecture presenter.
In other news, a new bill before the U.S. Congress could reverse 25 years of sanctions on Zimbabwe, marking a major shift in Washington's Africa strategy. The proposal seeks to roll back the Zimbabwe Democracy and Economic Recovery Act of 2001, which cut Harare off from international finance and sanctioned ZANU-PF officials over election abuses. The law was last amended in 2018 to require compensation for white farmers displaced by land reform. The push comes as the U.S. moves to counter China's influence in Africa, even as it tightens pressure on South Africa with new 30% import tariffs and a parallel bill to review bilateral ties. In Kenya, the central bank has launched the Kisonia Compounded Index, a new benchmark based on daily overnight rates. The index opened at 100.000 on September 1 and stood at 100.2862 by September 12, a 0.29% rise, equal to about 9.36% annualized. Kisonia tracks real shipping interbank unsecured lending and provides a continuous return measure similar to SONIA in the UK and SOFR in the US. The index will also drive loan pricing under the new risk-based credit model, with variable rate loans now linked to Kisonia Plus premiums and fees, replacing the central bank rate as the reference. Finally, on news now, Momentum Group, one of South Africa's leading insurers, has reported record full-year 2025 results, with normalized headline earnings surging 41% to 6.26 billion rand. The group declared a final dividend of 90 cents per ordinary share, bringing the full-year payout to 175 cents, up 40% from the previous year. Return on equity rose to 21.2% compared to 15.5% a year ago. Embedded value per share stood at 42.51 rand as of June 30, with a 19.1% return on embedded value. CEO Jeanette Marais said the results reflect the strength of the group's diversified portfolio and disciplined execution of its impact strategy. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now for today. The show returns shortly with Grace at the FMDQ archives for our markets round. Stick around.
This annual gathering represents not just a meeting of minds, but a powerful platform for important debate on the future of our continent. A future where energy security and sustainability are within reach.
African countries account for almost 20% of the global population, but only for 4% of the world's total energy investment. Now, this imbalance should be ringing an alarm bell for all of us.
Our priority must continue to be to end energy poverty for all Africans. as well as create an enabling environment where the oil and gas industry can thrive, be beneficial for local content, as well as be responsible with the environment.
Visit www.aecweek.com to register today. The African Energy Week, it's more.
Welcome back to Money Moves. Thank you for sticking around. Let's now go over to Grace for today's markets review. Hello there, Grace.
Thank you, Melissa. Now let's track today's markets, starting off with the equities. As you can see on your screen, the African stock markets today had a mixed outing. Here in Nigeria, the NGX All-Share Index closed at the positive, up 0.16%. The Barrel of AM in Abidjan also rose 0.14%. In North Africa, the EGX closed on the positive, up 1.22%, while Morocco's MASI rose 0.77%. While in South Africa, the JSE slipped 0.10%. Let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The Rand is 0.0709% to 17.37 Rand per dollar, while the Egyptian pound also slipped 0.13%. The CFA franc was marginally lower, down 0.07%, with the Kenyan shilling a little changed at 129.20. Meanwhile, the Moroccan dirham strengthened 0.33% and the naira gained 0.34% to 1,497 naira 39 kobo per dollar at the official window. Let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Oil prices edged higher, with Brent crude up 0.43% at $68.24 per barrel, and US WTI gained 0.42%. Natural gas fell 1.29%, and Arabian gasoline was also down 0.11% to $2 as of 12:59 GMT. Finally, to soft prices, cocoa fell 1.88% as coffee also eased 0.04%. Cotton slipped 0.71%. Sugar also slipped 1.04% to $16.10, while palm oil bucked the trend, rising 0.39% to about $1.53 as at 13:04 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those market updates. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From all of us here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you very much for watching and bye for now.